they've had our number these last couple of times, but it's a new day on Sunday. We're excited. We're getting guys off the COVID list, and we're going to practice hard this week and come out and play a clean game.
The Broncos are getting ready for the season finale as they welcome in the Kansas City Chiefs. We're getting you ready for kickoff. Hello, I'm Phil Milani alongside Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala. Guys, we're back in the studio, so another important show. That's how you know. Nothing really on the line standing-wise for the Broncos. For the Chiefs, on the other hand, they're still very much in play for that number 1 overall seed. Sidney, what would a win over the Chiefs mean for the Broncos?
Right, Phil. Well, I think a win would show how capable this team is. I mean, in a year with, so many key injuries, so many rookies having to step up, COVID outbreaks. I mean, beating a top 5 team in the league would show, how high the ceiling is for this team. I think a win could show that, this team may only need, 1 or 2 more players here to take it to the next level. And while, like you said, there's not a ton on the line for the Broncos here, I do think they're going to want to end the season on a good note, end on a win here. And, for a lot of the players in the locker room, I think they're going to want to end on, snapping this 12-game losing streak that they do have to the Chiefs and to stop the Chiefs, from earning the overall number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that just because you're not making the playoffs doesn't mean that there's not some pride to play for, especially as a team trying to face your rivals, a team that's beaten you 12 times in a row, Eric.
Yeah, and you don't have to talk about that anymore. The narrative's gone. Justin Simmons has said several times this year how tired they are of talking about that, and it's reached 12 games. Week 2 of 2015 is the last time the Broncos beat this Chiefs team. Seems like forever ago, but you get a fresh start going into 2022, and if you're able to beat the Chiefs on Saturday, you don't have to talk about this anymore. You're able to move forward. You're able to know that you beat them, and like Sidney mentioned a second ago, you get to know that you beat a good team. The Broncos have not fared particularly well the last few weeks against playoff-type teams. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Raiders, who could get in. Of course, they lost to the Bengals at home, and then last week the Chargers kind of thumped them, Phil. And so if you're able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, like Sidney says, I think it gives you some confidence in yourselves, lets you know that, hey, we've competed against the Raiders here over the last couple of years. We've competed against the Chargers. We haven't competed against the Chiefs. Here's a chance to prove that you can.
Yeah, and nobody wants to end the season on a 4-game losing streak. So this would be an opportunity to snap that head into the offseason with some positive momentum. And beating the Chiefs is still beating the Chiefs, unless you ask Drew Lock.
It is what it is. A win is a win is a win. And this one would be just as important to me as one against the Chargers, one against the Raiders, whoever it may be.
I'm not quite so sure if I believe Drew. I mean, if that's not a narrative in the locker room, then I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe him here. But a win or a loss, though, it doesn't really matter for the standings for the Broncos. We still know they're going to finish 4th in the AFC West. But, Sidney, what are you watching for specifically in this finale?
So I want to see more consistency on this offense, and I want to see them put more points on the board. I mean, if you look at the last 3 weeks, the Broncos haven't scored more than 13 points in the last 3 games. So another thing I'm going to look for in terms of that is just to get this run game going like we saw throughout the season. I mean, get to, 150 yards rushing like we've seen in peak times this season. Do that, open up the play action. Offense is really what I'm going to be looking for. If they can, give these Broncos fans, optimism heading into the offseason and something that they can build on heading into the offseason, I think that would be great.
We're not sure if this could be Melvin Gordon's final game in a Broncos uniform, so I'm sure he wants to go out there and prove that he still belongs. He says he wants to stay in Denver. Eric, what are you watching for?
I mean, there's a couple individual goals that you can look for. Pat Surtain can get his 5th pick. Justin Simmons could set a career high with 6 interceptions. Javonte Williams could push himself into the top 10 in rushing as a rookie. That'd be impressive, of course, but Drew Lock is the guy that I think everyone's been watching the last few weeks. I'll be watching him again on Saturday. I'm not sure if there's anything he can do to prove that he's the unquestioned starter going into next year, but this is his chance to say, hey, I deserve a shot one way or another, whether it's in Denver or wherever it may be, as he talked about this week. And then just how does this team play in general? Do they still play hard? I mean, like you mentioned earlier, Phil, there's really nothing to play for in the standings, but with all the kind of the whispers going around, does this team still play hard in the season finale?
Yeah, it's going to be a big offseason for this Broncos team no matter what happens. And I think Drew, a lot of eyes are going to be on him. He was asked if he believes that he's a starter in this league.
But I feel like I've done a lot of good things to the point where I am confident in myself that I deserve and should be a starter in this league. It's going to take other people watching my film and seeing that from me and, wanting that for me and whatever program that it is. But no, I do personally believe that you give me a starting job, you let me prep throughout the week, I'm going to give you a damn good chance to win a football game.
How close is this team to getting back into contention? Cindy, we've seen them take some strides this season.
We certainly have, Phil, and I do think that they are relatively close. If you look at the division, it's a really tough division. And look at last weekend. As of last weekend, all 4 teams were competing for a playoff spot. I mean, the Broncos were in it for a good chunk of this season. And, the thing that I really like about this team is, something we have talked about over the years is it is still a young team. And we got to talk about the rookies here too. I mean, they've put up a tremendous performance this entire season. I mean, so many guys have been able to step up in some key positions that guys were injured and did well. So I do think the future is bright here, and it's not out of the question that maybe they could make it next year.
Yeah, even though they're sitting at 7-9, there is still a lot of positives to think about. And this defense has been really good, one of the top scoring defenses in all of the NFL. The offense has a lot of talent, except maybe just the most important position in all of sports, that quarterback position. I think that that's where a lot of the attention is, Eric?
I thought you were going to say like left guard or maybe right tackle or something. I thought you were going to, I didn't know where you were going with that.
No, that's not, I was talking about quarterback.
Quarterback. Yeah, that's a big question mark because Teddy Bridgewater no longer under contract after this year. Drew Lock, of course, going into the final year of his rookie deal, but he was the team's backup quarterback this year, and so there could be a lot of change at that position. And like Sydney mentioned, all this talent all over the team, but they do need to figure out that position. That's kind of the number one goal, I would say, for this offense and this team this offseason. And the other thing is that they haven't been particularly good against playoff teams or in one-score games. I believe they're 1-4, 1-5 in these one-score games this year. They've got to be better there. And Vic Fangio said this week comes down to 1 or 2 plays, 1 or 2 calls. The Broncos have to find a way to get better play out of the guys on the field and those better calls from the coaches on the sideline. There is a team every year that goes from 4th to 1st in their division. It's going to be tough in the AFC West.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. And you're talking about those close games. The Broncos lost a lot of close games. Their wins a little bit more definitive this year. So that is another thing that if you're looking for positives, you can hang your hat on that.
I do believe this team has made progress. We got it to 6-5. We lost 3 tough games against teams that are going to make the playoffs. Play here and there, better call here and there. And maybe we get over the hump there and we're still in the hunt now. And then last week, we got to be able to go play with what we got, but we did have a depleted roster last week. So,
and for one final time this year, guys, score predictions. It's sort of the part of the show where we like to tell you exactly what will happen before it does. Sydney, what's your score?
Guys, I don't feel great about this last game. I'm going to go 31-17 Chiefs.
No.
Yeah.
No, Sydney,
you know me,
you're the one last
I'm always
believer.
Optimistic, I know, but
Okay.
I don't feel great about it this weekend.
Okay. Eric?
I think Justin Simmons is going to get that 6th interception, Phil.
No, I was talking about a score prediction.
A score
Yeah,
prediction?
That is
Phil.
what I was talking about.
Phil.
Yeah. That's what.
Are you sure?
Well, we heard from Drew Lock this week. He said the only stat that really matters is wins.
Okay. Then I'll just say an L.
Okay, but maybe a score.
You want a score too? Are you sure? Okay. I'll go Chiefs 34. I do think the Broncos will score a little bit more. I'll say 21 Broncos, so 34-21.
Okay, that's a pretty good score. I think that's reasonable. I agree with you guys. I do think the Chiefs pull this one off. I think maybe 37. There's some guys banged up on this Broncos defense. We're not sure the availability of everybody on that side of the ball. So I say 37. On the offensive side, I say 17. It is really hard when one team has everything to play for and the other one only has pride to play for. It is really difficult to get up. So I hope that we're wrong, though.
I hope so too.
Yeah. They'll do that thing where the predictions are at the bottom and then they just circle that and then blast us. All right. Well, I hope everybody's having a happy New Year, and I hope that you've enjoyed this season of preview shows. We try to do our best, don't we? Yeah, we try. All right. For one final time, that will do it for us. For Eric Dalala and Sydney Jones, I'm Phil Milani. This has been Ready for Kickoff.